The issue of juvenile delinquency here is being tackled through a national parenting program being conducted by the Ministry of National Mobilization. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Director of Social Development Marissa Finch-Burke says the initiative is to help counteract the child justice issues in the country and to help give children the attention and guidance they need so that they do not fall by the wayside.
Because it is needed. When the children are not getting the attention at the level of the home, they resort to other persons and or systems, whether formal, informal, legal and or illegal, to get the required attention. So it means therefore beckons the education sector, the health industry, the private sector. Everybody must come on board in terms of engineering a child-friendly or child-focused or youth-focused in terms of development and empowerment modality for all its initiatives and interventions, so that we must foster a positive environment if we are going to encourage positive behavior.
Finch-Burke says the National Parenting Program, which has been in place for a few months now, helps parents and children resolve their issues through practical reasoning.
So we had parents identifying the problems amongst their teenage children and younger teen children and preteen kids. We had the children identifying what are the problems that their parents are having in parenting. And we had those two areas in the same rooms offering problems, and we allowed them to develop a response. And in the end, we developed a toolkit as to how, when it happens, how to respond. The first thing, you do not act out, you remain calm. The aim is, as a parent, to promote a positive environment despite what?
9 Calypsonians were selected from the semi-final clash last evening to face off with defending Calypso monarch Manzangi in the National Calypso competition slated for Victoria Park on the March Grand Night, Sunday, July 5th. There are Sule and Homie from the Graduates Tent, Chanel McKenzie at Defoe, and Cleopatra Hendrickson from the Upstage Experience, Marshy and Patches from the On Tour Calypso Tent, and Naval String and Dennis Bowman from the Dynamite's Calypso Tent. The lone reserve is Azara of the On Tour Tent. And at least one of the finalists has found himself in some hot water. The night's legal services, the law firm representing Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Louis Deschamps, is seeking an apology from Marshy for alleged defamation of character in his song Professional Bowlers. In a letter sent to Marshy dated June 22nd by lawyer Patina Knights, it outlined that if they do not receive a satisfactory reply within 7 days of receipt of the letter, her instructions are to institute legal proceedings against the Calypsonian. Knight's claim suggests that Marshall is suggesting in his song that her client is a homosexual, and he made specific reference to the Ministry of Health and the post of SPS. She says her client holds the post as Permanent Secretary, which is commonly referred to as PS, and to suggest the SPS is a bowler is a veiled attempt to indicate the post as PS. Deschamps' lawyer says the words are calculated to defame her client, who feels aggrieved as the song seeks to lower, in the opinion of others, her client's character, professional integrity and standing, and that it has caused him considerable distress and embarrassment. Marshall performed the song last night at the National Calypso semi-finals at the Victoria Park and was selected as one of the finalists. SVG-TV News understands that before he took the stage, on advice from the Carnival Development Corporation, he substituted the Ministry of Health with the Ministry of Progress. Historian and author Dr. Edgar Adams is encouraging more persons here to read. During a mini book fair and exhibition at his shop located at the cruise ship terminal, Dr. Adams shared his love for writing and reading, that is, and says more persons need to engross themselves with the pastime, which he says makes one a well-rounded individual.
Stopped reading in the way that we used to reading 10 or 15 years ago. And we've gone completely over now to press button, you get a television show and everything like that. Everything you're looking for you press a button and it comes up on the screen and so on. There's no thought that all of that had to be researched before it was available to be put on screen. But persons are looking for the finished product, and if you can press a button and have that finished product, then you don't have to spend any time to go and read books and look through magazines and dusty newspapers of yesteryears.
The renowned historian and author gave the SVG-TV news team a tour of his mini book fair and exhibition.
One section we devoted almost completely to poetry. Lots of Vincentians have written poetry over the years. As a matter of fact, many years ago when I was very active in a number of things, I decided to put together the poems written by Vincentians and published in books, in magazines, and newspapers, and that sort of thing. And I decided to make a file for every new person who I found had written his poem or poems. And I found that my file grew to 65. In other words, I had 65 files of persons who had written poetry from St. Vincent. It's important sections of the whole exhibition where we are honoring 4 persons this year, persons whom I got to know very early in life and who I sort of remained with them perhaps throughout my whole lifetime, and they have now left the scene. First, Mrs. Norma Keyser, who left us rather recently, headmistress of the Girls High School at one time. Dr. Earl Kirby, well known to all of us, archaeologist, and helped us so well with our animals when they were not so well to function as we would like them. Sheikh Keane, another very outstanding world-class musician, and also our own Pat Prescott, whom I knew very, very well, and from childhood days we were at school together, and as a matter of fact it's one of the few persons who I was very fortunate to stand at his bedside when he died. And this section is very dear to my heart, of course, and we also include a number of persons who did service before, pioneers as well as new entrepreneurs.
The Eastern Caribbean Marine Management Areas Network, ECMAN, creatively found a way to highlight the issue of marine conservation and protection through a flash mob dance at Heritage Square yesterday evening. Persons were caught off guard by the spontaneous dance movement of some 50 youngsters with help from the La Gracia dancers and Maxine Brown. Project coordinator of ECMAN, Tashika Haynes, says this was a strategic way of getting the ordinary person to think about the marine environment and how important it is to livelihood.
The flash mob that we had today is part of the Eastern Caribbean Marine Managed Areas Network project. What we're trying to do is to think a little bit outside the box in terms of meeting the masses and getting the message across. What we were actually doing today is to create some awareness about the marine environment. We actually had a song produced for the project, and so we thought that it would be a good idea to meet the persons at Heritage Square while they're on a downtime, but then we'll get their attention and we can get our message across. In terms of protecting the marine environment, we all use it. Some of us depend on it for our livelihoods, and so we want to get persons to come on board in terms of conserving and protecting it. So that was the main reason for having this event today.
And here's a look at how that flash mob dance went down at Heritage Square yesterday.
Can't touch this.